Hey Roosters, and welcome back to another Star Wars Unlimited Leader Spotlight. Today's video we're going to be taking a look at a leader from the Star Wars Unlimited second set, Shadows of the Galaxy. This is going to be the final leader for the second set. Took me long enough, I know. Okay, disclaimer, this is not a meta-analysis. The cards talking about today's video are not going to be the best cards with these leaders, just some cards that we think look pretty cool synergistically at face value. Second of all, this is an opinion. If you disagree, that's completely fine. You can go ahead and leave a dislike or comment saying that you disagree, but at the same time, just be respectful. And finally, not every card that I personally think works well with each of these leaders is even going to make it in today's video. I may have forgotten it, or it may just not work with the leader just because. So you can leave your favorite in the comment section below if I happen to forget yours. And also, while I'm here, I might as well say it. If I got anything wrong in today's video about how an ability might work, or just said something wrong, I'm completely fine if you leave that in the comment section as well. Okay, today's lead is going to be Lando Calrissian, cunning and heroism unit. He has the underworld trait. He has an action, exhaust him, play a card using smuggle. It costs 2 less. And you can defeat a resource you control. As an epic action, if you control 4 or more resources, you can deploy him as a leader unit, and when you do, he's a 2/5 with an action, play a card using smuggle. It costs 2 less. Defeat a resource you own and control. It's important wording there. Use this ability once each round. 3L337 is a 2-cost 2/2. When played, you may rescue a captured card. If you don't, give a shield token to this unit. You can also smuggle her in for 4. The important part is that you can have the choice between capturing or rescuing a captured card, which can be really important against some certain decks, or giving a shield token to this unit. Principal Outlaw is a 4-cost 4/4. On attack, you may exhaust a ground unit. You can also smuggle him in for 6. Zori Bliss is a 5-cost 4/7. On attack, discard a card. At the start of your other group phase, discard a card from your hand. Or draw a card. At the start of your group phase, discard a card from your hand. You can also smuggle her in for 6. The Millennium Falcon is a 6-cost 5/5. If you play this unit from your hand, it gains Ambush. You can also smuggle it into play for 6. So obviously you can play from your hand and get the first effect, or you can put it in your resource row and play it later for no additional effect, just for 6. It's actually a really cool piece of game design. DJ is a 3-cost 3/5. Smuggle him in for 7 double cunning. You may when you play music smuggle, take control of an enemy resource. When this unit leaves play, that resource's owner takes control of it. It's really important that that's why the Lando Calrissian wording is really important, because it says own and control, not just control. So although you can take control of an enemy resource with a DJ, you won't be able to destroy it with Lando's ability, which is a bummer, but is probably for the best. Smuggler Starfighter is a 3-cost 2/2. When played, if you control another underworld unit, give an enemy unit -3 for this phase. -3 power, that is. You'd also smuggle it in for 4. So as you might be able to tell, almost all the smuggle cards are underworld, if not most of them. So this ability is going to be useful within your deck. You're pretty much playing an underworld deck. It's kind of what underworld cards do. Tobias Beck is a 4-cost 4/5. When you play a non-unit card, you may exhaust a card that costs the same as or less than the card you played. Use this ability only once each round. You can also smuggle them in for 5 Vigilance, which is really important because you can just play Vigilance base, or you can not play Vigilance base and smuggle them in for, if you're using Lando's ability, 3 or 5 cost by itself. McClunky is a 1-cost underworld trick. It says return a friendly non-leader underworld unit to its owner's hand. If you do, deal 3 damage to a unit. This is important because you can pick up a smuggle unit to put into your resource next round and then be able to play it again. And then you also can get the effect of dealing 3 damage to a unit, or you can also pick up a unit with a really good on-play ability. So there's multiple reasons you may want to play this card in an underworld deck, such as this one. Jetpack's an upgrade to cost, +2 power to the attached unit, as well as an effect box attached to a non-vehicle unit. When played, you give a shield token to the attached unit. At the start of the regroup phase, defeat that token. You can also smuggle it into play for 4 resources and cunning. Smuggling Compartment's a 1-cost 1/1 attached to a vehicle unit. Attached unit gains on attack ready resource. Is smuggling compartment super duper synergistic with smuggling? Not really, but being between the fact that you are destroying your own resources, you may want to have a card, I don't know, that would help you gain access to more resources. I mean, just thought. Evacuate's a 6 cost card. This one actually does work pretty well. Return each non-leader unit to its owner's hand. So this works similar to McClunky in a way. Your opponent has to pick up all their units, and you have to pick up all your units. And the next round, if you want to, you can play down any of the units that are going to play effects. You can put some of the cards with smuggle into your resource row, and so on and so forth. On to Command. I really like Lando Command. It has a lot of cool tricks you can gain access to. Freetown Backup, it's a 2 cost, 1/4. On attack, give another friendly unit +2/+2 for this phase. You'd also smuggle it in for 4. Collection Star Hopper is a 2 cost, 2/2. You can smuggle in for 3. Privateer Crew is a 2 cost, 2/2. Smuggle in for 6. And when you play it using smuggle, you can give it 3 experience tokens. So something like this might be pretty cool to use with something like Evacuate or McClunky, because you pick it up, it would lose its experience tokens, but then you can have a choice of playing it back down for 2 or putting it back in your resource row to smuggle out again, and this would be useful if your opponent has ways to get rid of your experience tokens or something like that. Weak Way is a Weak Pirate Gang is a 4 cost, 3/3 ambush, as well as you smuggle in for 5. Commission's a 1 cost card. It says, search the top 10 cards of your deck for bounty hunter, item, or transport, reveal it, draw it. You can also smuggle this in for 3. Now, how many bounty hunters you're going to be playing, it's really up to you. Item can be important if you're playing the jetpack or the DL-44. Transports can be important depending on if you're playing like the Star Hopper, I believe, the transport. No, it is not. It's a fighter. Anyway, there's some good transports to be had here. And so there are useful uses for this card, if beyond the fact that you can smuggle it in for 3. Timely Intervention is a 1 cost. Play a unit from your hand and give it ambush. You could also smuggle it in for 2. Spark of Hope is a 2 cost. Choose a unit in your discard pile. If it was defeated this phase, put it into play as a resource. This is very important for your deck. It's one of the reasons why I think Command Lando is really cool, because you get to pick up units that smuggle, put them into your resource row. If you blow up a resource with a card to smuggle in it, with Lando's effect, you can then put that card into your resource row, and it has smuggle, and so on and so forth. If one of your smuggle units dies, most average common way for a unit to go out, you can end up putting it back into your resource row to be played again. And it's for a character who's all about smuggling cards. It's beyond gaining more resources. It's also recursion, as well as the fact that you're going to be blowing up your own resources, so you may want to invest in a way to get them back. Similarly, you can play Resupply. It's a 3 cost card. Put this event into play as a resource. And yeah, it doesn't have smuggle, but you can just use this as explosion fodder for Lando's effect. On to Vigilance. Chewbacca is an 8 cost, 4/10 grit unit. It says when played, you may defeat a unit with 5 or less remaining HP. You can smuggle him in for 9 aggression and heroism. Now, this is one of the smuggle cards you may not be interested in playing with Lando, because, quite frankly, you're going to have to smuggle this guy in, even with Lando's effect, for 9 cost. It's not cheap, but 9 cost, 4/10 grit, as well as a good on-play effect. It does have its big boss unit card uses. Sugi's a 4 cost double vigilance, but double vigilance on play, so it's a 4/6 when an enemy unit is upgraded, it gains Sentinel, but the important part is you can smuggle in for 6 single vigilance. So as a smuggle deck, if you're playing vigilance, you can put her into your resource row and use Lando's effect to just smuggle her out for 4, instead of having to pay 8 if you're not on vigilance, or 6 if you are on vigilance, to play her from your hand. The Vigilant Pursuit Craft is a 5 cost, 3/5 Sentinel unit that you can smuggle in for 7. Covert Strength is a 1 cost tactic event. Hail 2 damage from a unit and give an experience token to it. You can also smuggle it in for 3. Second Chance is a really interesting card. It's a 4 cost double vigilance card. It says +0/+0, as well as attached to a non-leader unit. And the attached unit gains when defeated for this phase. This unit's owner may play it from its discard pile from their discard pile for free. So you'd be paying 6 for this on Lando. But if you cheat out a cheap card, cheaper than it's supposed to be, with Lando's effect, you can then slap this guy on them, and when he dies, you can get him back again for free. So if it's like an 8-cost card that you cheated out for 6, and you pay another 6 to get it back into play, could be pretty cool. Onto aggression, there's a couple options here for smuggle cards, such as the Reckless Gunslinger, 1 cost 2/1. When played, deal 1 damage to a base. You can also smuggle her in for 3. Cassian Andor, he's a 3 cost 3/5. Smuggle him in for 5, and then when you play him as a smuggle, you can ready him. So he comes in, and with Lando's effect, he can come in for 3 and ready. The Night Owl Skirmisher is a 3 cost for 3. Smuggle her in for 5. The Cripple Authority is a 2 cost, draw a card. For each opponent who controls more resources than you, discard a card from their hand. There's going to be many times that you're going to have lower resources than your opponent. In fact, almost all the time that's going to be the case playing as Lando. So this card is going to allow you to draw a card and discard a card, and you force your opponent to discard a card from their hand. Not the most powerful effect. Drawing 1 card, not that amazing. You're losing a card best by playing this thing. And also, your opponent has to discard a card, but they get to choose it. So, I mean, they're not really probably not losing too much. But in a multiplayer game setting, this gets a whole lot better because then you can get multiple players to discard cards, and that technically raises the value of the card. A Hotshot DL44 Blaster is a 1 cost +2 to the attached unit +0. Attached to a non-vehicle unit, you can also smuggle in for 3 Cunning. And you can also, when you play it using Smuggle, you can attack with the attached unit. Armed to the Teeth is a 2 cost +2 +0. Attached unit gains on attack, give another friendly unit +2 power for this phase. You can also smuggle it in for 4. Okay, that's going to be it for all the main line cards, but there's one card that you're going to be playing in Lando, and I don't know about the competitive viability of Lando or of Tech. I'm not good enough to say that for certain, but I do know that these cards pretty much have to be played together. Tech is a 3-cost heroism unit that says 2/5. Each friendly resource gains Smuggle. The gain Smuggle cost is a card's cost +2 in its aspect icons, and then you can smuggle him in for 4. So with Lando, you can smuggle him in for 2, and with Lando's effect in conjunction with Tech's effect, you can play any card from your resource row for its from hand play cost, with the only thing it costing you is to destroy 1 resource, which I'm not going to act like it's not a steep cost to pay, but at the same time you have to realize your entire resource row becomes pretty much an extension of your hand, with the only cost again being the destruction of a single resource in your resource row. It's pretty good. It's pretty much built to be working. It's pretty much built to work together. And then of course you can play Smuggler's Aid. 1 cost, tail 3 damage from your base, smuggle in for 3. And that's going to be it for the video. So it wasn't a ton of cards to look at because generally you only want to be looking at the cards with smuggle on them. You're playing Lando Calrissian. He plays with smuggle cards. But I do think that because of that fact, there's a lot, again, same thing I did in the last video with Lando Hondo, funny. There's a lot of open room you can go here with Lando. Obviously, we're playing smuggle cards, but with Tech, any card is a smuggle card. So it really opens up your game plan options here and what you might want to end up building. Obviously, you have Underworld traits on tons of smuggle cards, so you might just end up building quote-unquote Underworld deck. So there's obviously that option to your disposal, but you can really go almost anywhere, especially because you're going to be playing Tech. But that's going to be it for today's video, and that's going to finally cap off Shadows of the Galaxy and all their leaders. I'm pretty sure I got them all. And you're finally going to have all of this leader spotlights for each of these leaders. That being said, Twilight Republic's already out, so stick around, stay tuned. Those leader spotlights are going to be coming at you sooner than you probably expect, or maybe not as soon, depending on how soon you expect it. Well, that's going to be all for now, but if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you guys go ahead and watch some of our other videos that we've made on this channel. Also, give this video a like if you thoroughly enjoyed it. And of course, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our future content. And I hope to see you guys back at the roost.